Pleasant good day to you, everyone. My name is Justin Scott here from 876 Invest. As always, we have an excellent show for you this morning. I'm here joined today by the Michelle Chong, co-founder of Honeybun Limited, right? And we're going to just get into some of the experiences that she's had, the story that she's brought to really develop Honeybun to where it is today, starting from just about over 12 employees to over 400 now. We're talking exports, we're talking about local domination of the market, we're talking about Honeybun goods and their products, right? So it's going to be a great episode for you guys. And without any further ado, Michelle, how are you doing today?
Good morning, Justin. I am great this morning. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me to be here today.
No problem at all. All right. So I'm sure all of our viewers here are very eager to know, like, how did the entire inspiration for Honeybun get started? Like, how was the starting point like?
The starting point was so long ago, but it's still very clear in my mind. I was a teacher at Campion actually at the time.
Okay.
And I got married and my husband bought this business. He had a pizza business in Canada. We were both in Canada when we met. So when he bought the pizza business in Jamaica, it was just a continuation of what he knew. So when he bought Honeybun, Honeybun was selling pizza at the time. And it was just 2 retail outlets. And, Chinese culture, you get married, you go and work in your husband's business. That's what happened.
Right. All right. Got to keep it in the family. I see. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, when you say you were working in the business, this is like full on everything manager. You had to sometimes be in the kitchens. You had to sometimes be, dealing with deliveries, working out sales. How was that for you?
Like most small businesses, when they start up and it was small for a while, I was doing everything. I remember the first thing I did was to visit my father's accountant to find out how to keep the records and how to do the payroll. So with those 2 skills, I more or less took over managing the business because my husband is more into investments and real estate. So it became obvious very early that Honeybun was going to be my baby. So everything. I remember a specific day when we had a cake decorator. We used to do birthday cakes at the time. And we took orders and, I had a decorator who would do wedding cakes. And we took an order for a wedding cake and he resigned. And I was like, okay, who's going to do this wedding cake now? So I got a cake decorating book and I made my roses and I did the wedding cake and it was beautiful. So, you learn as you have to. Whatever pops up when you're in business and you have to do it, you just have to do it. Luckily, nowadays, you guys have YouTube.
Right.
So you could probably decorate a cake a lot easier than I could then. But it came out good.
Okay, that's great. I find that as a business owner, especially as like a small business that's trying to grow and scale, that a lot of your time spent as a principal is outing fires. It's like 24/7, 365, you're always just trying to, okay, well, this is happening over here, but then also something is going on over here. So I need to figure out how to deal with that, manage my time, and at best delegate responsibilities.
What I have found in hindsight is, while that is very true, it's due to, one, a lack of experience on the part of small business, lack of planning on the part of small business, and also the tenacity to want to be involved in everything, which is not necessarily a good thing. Perhaps had we come in with a plan on how to get better resources, more qualified people, it would have been different. Had we planned on certain training that we really needed as a small business, it would have been different. But we took that route and it was a little longer, but it worked out. I know everything about the business, everything.
All right. From A to Z, that's great. All right. So for So we said you had started, it was originally like a pizza bakery, and then you went out a bit more into pastries. Was it always a plan to transition into pastries like that?
Well, they had pastries at the beginning too.
Okay.
But one of the things I very often speak about is how to create opportunities out of challenges. I call it CO2, challenges to opportunities. Because, and I mean, even now we're in a pandemic and we have to figure out how we're going to create opportunities out of the challenges. So I never went in thinking that we would grow and didn't have the plan. That it's just how life took you. So
Mm-hmm.
very early in the life of the business, maybe after 5 or 6 years, the dollar devalued in the early 90s so much that we just could not pay the rent anymore. It went from like $15,000 to $90,000 a month within the space of a year. So we had to change the business model. And that was when we decided, something, instead of coming out of business, as some people might have done, we went more into business and we invested in manufacturing wholesale. So we borrowed money, bought more automated equipment, and moved from where we were into a lower cost place that had more space. And we started to do wholesale. And there it
Mm-hmm.
was that we birthed from retail to wholesale and never looked back.
Okay.
So that's the opportunity that was waiting around the corner for us.
Right. You have to recognize how the environment of a business has shifted, right? Especially things like increased costs for lease. You have to be able to ensure that, okay, if I continue doing it as I am right now, then I'll just simply won't be able to make ends meet in short order.
Yeah, that's the summit. That's the sum of it all. We can't continue. We want things to go back to normal, but there is no more back to.
For sure.
There's only forward. Only forward. And how will that look? And how much in control are you of the future?
All right. And so speaking about like challenges of the times, was like back in the 90s, maybe like fintech era, anyway, comparable to some of the challenges you would have faced now? Maybe not directly, but in terms of the severity.
Well, at that time, we were not a thriving business financially. So the challenges would have been financial. Now we're much more buoyant because we've been doing so well that we also have so much more talented staff who we can depend on. So it's not a one-man show anymore. So now I would say it's less challenging for us. And to a large extent, we're very grateful too, because the food industry has not done terribly in the pandemic. We've actually done quite well. So the challenges are different. Right now, the challenges are more social. And so what we've done even for our staff is to ensure that they have counseling. So they have a counselor that they can go and see once a week.
Wow.
So that their social issues can be can we put away social issues in this pandemic? No, probably not. But they can get heard. So then it was financial, and that was really tough. It's tough when it's financial because you don't know what's going to happen. I think that there is a lot more uncertainty now because you don't know how it's going to be in the next 4 months. The short term is very difficult to predict. But the business certainly has grown so much in terms of talent and strengths, financials, that there are less issues and we have more time to get it right.
I see. All right. And so, especially in the pandemic, man, because when it first came and everything was closed off, we're talking places attached to tourism, we're talking like the hotel sectors and especially places like schools. I was really wondering, like, wow, how is Honeybun going to pivot with this?
I know, we wonder too. We wonder too.
Right.
Especially with schools, because normally what happens is that in the summertime our sales fall because school, there's no school. And we worried. We said, okay, now we're going to have a very long summer here. But you know what? I say we're a God blessed company because He has provided. Schools being out did not mean there were less students, they were just displaced. They still had to eat. So we've just found other channels to feed them. So, we've been able to think and think really hard about how to get the things done that we needed to get done to maintain our sales. Other sales channels also fell and some increased.
Mm. Okay, like which channels would you say would have increased?
Definitely our outlets and the supermarkets, those two have increased. Our
Oh, for
exports
sure.
have increased too, surprisingly, because they were very challenged, particularly with flights.
Okay. Yeah, man, I can imagine, like, especially with supermarkets and wholesales, because with the sporadic or intermittent lockdowns, I always see people like rushing straight to the
Yeah.
supermarkets. From here, we're going to be having a 3-day lockdown, and
Yes.
the supermarkets just go crazy after that.
Yes. So thank the Lord, we are managing and we're doing well.
Right, right, right. That's excellent. And so with exports now, as a matter of fact, I had this question preloaded up, How have you been contending with the increased shipping costs and lags in deliveries lately?
Well, they're challenging. We use a lot of software to do our purchasing and manage our supply chain. So what is good about software is that if we know that there is going to be lag, you can reset the order time on your software. It automatically makes you order sooner. And this is why automation is such a wonderful thing. So, with a couple press of buttons, you can change your lead time in your order system to be 6 months instead of 4 months for the things you import. So you're
Right.
being prompted. So each week, our software system prompts us as to what to order. And we just have to set the lead time that we want to order for. So that's how we manage it. As it relates to costs, we have to do everything in our power to manage efficiencies. So, when you could lose a penny before, you can't afford to lose it anymore. So we have regular meetings with our team to understand what the metrics are. What is your efficiency this week? It goes down to our staff. Our staff must know how efficiently they are working. So it's very important to measure, measure, and get data. Because if you don't get the data, you don't know what to manage. So we've been able to maintain our margins because we've had one or two price increases, but we don't make them a lot. We try to work more on efficiencies and reducing cost than we do prices.
Okay, that's great. Because you see, if before you were measuring twice and cutting once, and now you're measuring 3 times.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.